You're doing it right now. Your eyes are scanning across the screen, moving from left to right in a rhythm so ingrained you don't even notice it. Your brain is performing a miracle, turning silent symbols into sounds, sounds into meaning, and meaning into a train of thought that defines your reality. Language feels as natural as breathing, like something that's always been there. But have you ever stopped to wonder where it actually came from? I'm not talking about how you learned to speak as a toddler. I mean way before that. Long before schools, before writing, and before words even had names. At some point in our deep, murky history, the very first human opened their mouth and produced something that wasn't just a scream or a grunt, but something with intent. What existed in the silence before that moment? The answer is far stranger and more beautiful than you might imagine. To understand the birth of language, we have to look at something that seems completely unrelated: a mother chimpanzee sitting with her infant. The baby is restless. The mother begins to slowly scratch the baby's back, then moves to the head, then the shoulders. This slow, repetitive motion isn't just about hygiene, it's a biological handshake. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar from Oxford University spent decades studying this behavior, and his conclusion changed everything. He calls grooming a social technology. When primates groom each other, their bodies release endorphins, the same neurochemicals that flood your system when you get a hug from someone you trust. Grooming builds bonds. It creates a safety net of, I've got your back. But grooming has a fatal flaw. It's a one-on-one game. To maintain a group of 50, you'd have to spend nearly half your waking hours scratching backs. In the brutal wild, that's a luxury no species can afford. This is where the grooming and gossip hypothesis begins. As our ancestors moved out of the trees and into larger groups for survival, the old way of bonding broke down. We needed a way to groom at scale. We needed a way to build trust with 10 people at once from a distance, while our hands were busy gathering food or sharpening stones. Dunbar argues that language didn't start as a way to describe the world, but as a way to replace the physical touch of grooming. It was vocal grooming. Before we had words for tiger or water, we had sounds that meant, I am here, you are safe, we are together. But if language started as social noise, how did it become structured? The clues are hidden in the jungles of Guinea. In 2015, researchers from the University of Birmingham analyzed the vocalizations of wild chimpanzees in the Bosu forest. They found something revolutionary. These primates don't just make random sounds, they use specific combinations of calls that change depending on the context. It's a proto-syntax, the seeds of grammar planted millions of years ago, proving that the hardware for complex language existed long before the software of words arrived. But here's the twist. The first true language might not have come from the throat at all. It might have come from the hands. Dr. Michael Corballis, a neurophysiologist at the University of Auckland, proposed a theory that was controversial for years. Our first words were gestures. Think about it. When you can't speak the language in a foreign country, what do? You point. You open your palms. You mimic the action of eating. This isn't just a backup plan, it's hardwired. Neurologically, Broca's area, the part of the brain responsible for speech, is also highly active when we use our hands to communicate. In patients with aphasia who lose their ability to speak, their ability to sign is often damaged as well. They share the same neural infrastructure. And look at any human infant. Before they can say mama or ball, they point. They use their tiny fingers to bridge the gap between their mind and yours. Gestures weren't a precursor to language, they were the first chapter of it. Yet, there is one more layer to this mystery, a form of proto-language that is even older than gestures. Music. Not the music you hear on the radio, but the raw, emotional power of rhythm and melody. Charles Darwin himself suggested that before we spoke, we sang. He believed our ancestors used musical proto-language, modulations of tone and pitch to convey emotion and intent without needing specific definitions. We still do this today. Think about motherese or infant-directed speech. No matter what language a mother speaks, when she talks to her baby, her voice becomes higher, slower, and more melodic. The baby doesn't understand the words, but they understand the music. They respond to the rising pitch of a question and the falling tone of a comfort. This emotional resonance is universal. You can hear a person shouting in a language you don't know and immediately tell if they are terrified or ecstatic. Emotion is the foundation. Words are just the house we built on top of it. So, when did the Big Bang happen? When did we cross the line from musical grooming and hand gestures into actual speech? Archaeologists point to a cognitive explosion about 100,000 years ago. Suddenly, the fossil record changes. We see shell beads carried over 20 kilometers, intricate body pigments, and sophisticated tools. These artifacts tell us one thing. Humans had started talking about things that weren't there. To make a piece of jewelry or plan a multi-day hunt, you need to discuss the invisible. You need a past tense to learn from mistakes and a future tense to imagine a goal. You need symbols. Once we could name the things we couldn't see, the world transformed. We could talk about spirits, about the stars, about the people who came before us. This is where myths were born. This is where the boundary between the physical world and the imagination dissolved, giving birth to everything we call civilization. Today, you might speak thousands of words, but beneath every sentence lies an ancient heritage. You are carrying millions of years of evolution in your throat and your hands. It started with a primate scratching her infant's back in a forest that no longer exists. It evolved into the rhythm of a mother's lullaby and the desperate pointing of a child. Language isn't just a tool for information, it is the fabric of our connection. Even now, the pre-verbal world is still alive inside you. You feel it when a song gives you goosebumps, when a hug says more than a 1,000-page book, or when you look into someone's eyes and just know. The first language never truly went away. It's just resting beneath the surface, waiting for the moments when words simply aren't enough. Language didn't just help us survive, it taught us how to be human. And that is a story that started long before the first word was ever spoken.